All right, now on to the fun do's and don'ts.
And some of these will be redundant, so we'll try and go through them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's just important things to remember.
Okay.
Lindsay talked about the importance of having the agenda. If possible, send it out before. You're asking people to RSVP, maybe a day or two before, say, hey, thanks for your RSVP. Just a reminder, the training's coming up tomorrow night. Here's some of the things we're going to cover. Maybe here's some materials for you guys to review in advance to, give them a little background knowledge before. And do stay on track. It's so easy to get off track. We try to welcome questions as we go, but you don't want to get sidetracked on a specific issue. All of a sudden it's an hour later and you're only a quarter way through the presentation. So try to save questions for the end. I know when I go out to schools with students, they all just throw out comments rather than questions. So at least with the core volunteer training, you're probably going to have some good questions. But try to save them to the end if you can. Let folks know that you're going to be around at the end to mix and mingle, and they may just save those specific questions for you at the end.
Yeah. Have everyone on your EC there, or your campaign and program managers there. Circulate a sign-in sheet for their contact information if you're not going to gather it on logistics, and then present specific volunteer opportunities. So maybe each campaign head has their own sign-in sheet, and people can go to them, talk to them, get their questions answered, and collect their information on a sheet. So they can follow up with them personally. Like we were saying earlier, talk personally with everybody, and this should be for your meetings too. Make sure that nobody just comes and goes without being spoken to or introduced to another EC member or just another member in general. Ask people to join. So many people are volunteers that aren't even Surfrider members, so that's something that we always focus on.
And then, just let everyone know you're volunteers, and you don't need to know everything, as I touched upon. We do have specialists, and even if it's something that your chapter chairman doesn't know, there's great resources at headquarters they can find out. And one dude that's not on here I wanted to point out that I was talking about is ChapterNet. Before you put together the core volunteer training, make sure you go through ChapterNet. There's a section there, and such a wealth of information. We can't stress how much good information is out there. So do check that out. Just to get more, if you haven't been there before, just to get more perspective for yourself on Surfrider.
Yeah. But we always share, it's okay to tell people that come up that you don't know, but that somebody will follow up with you. Some people aren't comfortable with that. And we always follow up with a thank you. We send them any outlines or materials that we covered, sometimes the presentations, so they've got that knowledge. And then, it's just another way for them to, and if they express specific interest, we say, okay, here's who you should contact next about getting involved.
Yeah, make sure you have that follow-up, because you're going to say at the training, here's Lindsay, she's the education person, here's Pete, he's the, spatial planning guy. And this could just go right over their head. So follow up with that information, in an email where they can capture it, and if they have some specific questions later on, they know who to contact. So, make sure to follow up with as many resources as possible, including especially the ways to get involved. Whether it's something that, whether you have an online calendar you can point to, or describe the specific positions and, how to get involved.
And then keep them on a separate list so that how, they're your first go-tos. We need a lead for this event, and then they can be responsible for getting general members involved. But keep them designated in a special list.
Yeah, many of you guys use the Cooler Mail. Any of you guys here use it? And it's good because you can have different lists within Cooler Mail. You can have the general chapter list and have a separate one just for core volunteers. There's obviously plenty of ways to do it, the other email things or spreadsheet, things like that, but that's another advantage of Cooler Mail, having those separate lists.